Right now then, engineering fans. So this is a bar welder that I've bought to adapt to fit onto my line borer. You've seen some of the previous jobs that I've done. Usually the work that I do is like agricultural stuff, which is smaller bars, like 50mm, 40mm. And they're usually very difficult to get into to weld up by hand. So it's always been my plan to adapt or, get a bar welder to work alongside me line borer. So I think it was Mark sent me a link for this on Instagram because it was for sale on Facebook Marketplace. So thanks to him, because I'd have probably missed it otherwise. And then the fellow that I bought it from, Ken he's called, he actually watches my videos anyway. So yeah, thanks to Ken for selling me it. What I'm going to do to start with, well, what it is, it's mounted on a magnet, a bit like a mag drill, but I'm going to do away with that and make a plate so it'll fit onto my line boring, like the bearing plates that I have for my line borer. What I want to do first is get it out, set it all up and see it working, so I know that it's going to do the job that I want it to do before I start making any alterations to it. So I'll get it out of the box, set it up and have a go with it. So I'm guessing that thing there is a transformer, and then there's magnet base and then your controls on there. So it is pretty basic. It just goes, you can't do any like half moons like you can with a modern, real expensive one, but it should do what I need it to do. So this just must be on a thread in here, because when it's going round, it's either going up or down, depending if you're going backwards or forwards. Then to knock it out of gear, to knock it out of feed, you just knock that out to stop it, like winding a thread round. So it's a pretty basic thing. In the bottom of the box, it's like the torch that screws into the top. Any different length, like adapters and that for different length bars. So it only has 120mm travel, but that'll be plenty long enough for anything that I ever do. So when you press that button in, it turns the magnet off, and then as soon as you release it, the magnet's back on again. So when I first got it a few weeks ago, I did have a bit of a play with it, just to see how it works. So it's just your forwards and backwards on there, or up and down on there, and your speed. I think that's RPM. So you can see that's going down now, very slowly. And to knock it out, feed, you just take that out, so then that whole thing turns around. And then at the bottom here, you just have this thing that you turn to alter the offset. It's a bit like a boring head. Then that alters like your bar size that you're going to be welding around. So there's different length liners to go in it. You have to run a liner through this slot, and then depends on how long extension you have on. So I'll have to work out which length liner I need. See what there is in the box and set it up with that. Right, so I'm guessing that's the right length liner, because it's just to say sticks out the top, and it just to say sticks out the bottom there. So now I think, so this end, I think now that liner joins onto the top of that liner, and then this threads into the top of there, I'm guessing. There is some instructions with it, but nobody's got time for instructions. Right, so it was a bit fiddly getting the liner into there to come out, and then get the tip in as well. It comes with these funny little shrouds. Looks like that one, whether that's a proper one or not. Looks like you're maybe supposed to cut them down to whatever length you need. Apparently you still can get parts for these. I don't know how old they are, but you can still get parts apparently. So I've just put that little shroud on there. I might have to chop the end of the tip off, I'm not sure. But they're just like normal 6mm tips. So the torch is on a Euro, just on a normal Euro fitting. So I'm going to use my little Tech Arc inverter MIG. It's on 0.8mm wire. Set it up with that. Right, so I've got the wire fed through. So apart from that tip being a little bit long, we should be ready to weld. I just need something for it to actually weld now. So I found this, it's not very deep, but it is about the usual size bars that I'm usually, well, a bit smaller, but that might do for a demo, just to get it set up. And then I'll see if I can find something a bit deeper to go through. So if I just tap that onto the bench there, and I can lower that down into it and see how we get on. Right, so that was pretty difficult to get it centralised, but I think it's sort of near enough. I think this bar is like 50mm, so it's quite small. So whether it'll be successful or not, I don't know, but we'll give it a try and see what happens. That's at 78 RPM. So whether that's too fast or too slow, I don't know, but it's all trial and error. Help if I turn the gas on. Well, that definitely went a lot smoother than I expected. I definitely need to go slower though and give the welder some more power. This welder, it's difficult to sort of know what you're doing because all it says is current. It doesn't really give you any other indication. So one's your voltage, just says voltage and current. And I'll lower the RPM down to 70, I think. Give that a try. So we're definitely having some issues with gas coverage, whether it's leaking out or whether the shroud is not good enough. I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to do, kind of, just need more power and better gas coverage. So that first one I did was actually 45mm, so I've just bored another bit out, 45mm, just like it was an off-cut bit of round bar I used for something else. So I'll have a go again on that, see if I can get it going a bit better. Right, so I've done one run up through there, and that has worked really well. Apart from when the shroud starts to come out of the hole, it loses its gas coverage. So I have to see if I can make a better shroud or something, but no, I'm really pleased with that. And it didn't take much setting up either, really. Well, it took a bit getting it central, but speed-wise and power-wise, it was fairly straightforward. So that's what it looks like from the bottom. It's a bit splattery, but I can always fine-tune the welder once I've got it, you know, once I'm using it, but that'll make my life a lot easier. So I know it'll be a different story when I start doing vertical hole. When I start doing horizontal holes rather than vertical holes, when it's welding uphill, it'll be a different story. Overall, I'm pleased with that test run. So now what I'm going to do is make this fit the bearing mounts for my line boring setup. So then when I pre-bore a hole, I can set this on. I don't have to take any bearing mounts off or anything to fit this on. And then I can bore weld it and then put my boring bar back in, and I don't have to realign anything then. That's my plan. Right, so these are my line boring plates that I mount the bearings on. That's one of the bearings. Starting to go a bit rusty now, but yeah, I purposely made them removable for this reason. Well, so I can either remove them to reach through and weld it by hand, or in case I ever made or got a bore welder. So what I'm going to do now is make a plate that will bolt onto there, that will hold that bar, because then that's the bar that slides on, that was originally in the magnet. So I'll get some plate organised, 20mm, I think that's 20mm, that's 25, I'll do it out at 20mm. And then, yeah, we'll make a plate to bolt onto there to hold that. I hope you can hear me alright, because it's absolutely pissing down outside. So I've got the plate drawn that I want. I'm going to do it at 15mm, because I've already got 15mm on the table. So I'm going to cut that out now. Right, so I've got that cut out. I put it in the lathe and I've turned that down so that fits inside there. I couldn't do all of that because I didn't have enough travel on the lathe to get the tool far enough out to cut that, so I'll have to mill that bit off in the milling machine, and then I just had to grind a little bit off, just smooth that lip off around there because I was still within the inside of the diameter, but that doesn't matter. So I need to drill these holes in here now. So when I did these holes, I used my rotary table to drill them, but now I've got my DRO working on my fresh milling machine. So what I can do is just sit that on the deck there, find the centre of that hole, and then use the DRO. As you can see there, use the DRO to work out the PCD. It just tells me where each hole needs to be. So that'll be quicker and easier than setting the rotary table up. So I'll lift this big heavy indexing head off and then get this clamped down. Trouble with this workshop, with it being so damp, everything goes rusty. Look how rusty that's gone already. Need to give it a clean up and give it an oil up. Right, so I've got that zeroed into the centre of there using the half function. They're near enough zeroed. So now to go into this one, I think I've already set it up. So I started from 0, 68mm radius. I want 9 holes, so that should be right. So if I press run, then that should give me the location of the first hole. So that is all them holes centered now. I'll drill them through on the pillar drill, and then it saves having to like block it up on here, but I've just centered them all. So it works really well, does that DRO. So while it's on here now, I'll probably mill this strip out the middle and then move the clamps and then mill a bit off the outside. It needs that bit milling off, otherwise it won't sit properly on the plate. So I've got that milled flat now, near enough, so that's all one level, so that should fit into them other plates without catching. What I can do now while it's still in the mill is drill this hole here where the bar's going to go for the welder to sit on. So I just need to measure off the welder what the centre hole is, and then I can drill that. Not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'll work that bit out when I come to it. So what I need to do now is accurately measure from that centre to that centre. So that measures 37mm. Batteries are flat again in this thing. 37mm near enough. That measures 99.5, and that distance in between there measures it's about 103-ish. So I'll just measure that properly with both hands, and then I can work it out from there. Yeah, so it measures about 103 in there. So I want 103 plus half of that diameter, plus half of that diameter. That should give me the bang on what the centres are for them. So half 37 is 18.5, half 99.5 is 49.75, and you add them on to 103 gives you 171.25. So that is the centres between this bar and that welding torch. Right, so that's all them centred. Right, so that is all them holes drilled now. The reason why I've done 9 holes is so I can have more choice of whereabouts it gets bolted on. These I might have an issue with, well, I will have an issue. This plate I was obviously going to catch on them bolt heads through there, but hopefully there'll be enough positions in between where I should be able to get away with it not being an issue. So that hole, so that'll be in the way there, but then yeah, so I'll be able to go. You'll be able to go in between each one of them, and then when it's on that plate, so then when it's on this plate, I should have a good few options of where I can mount it on. So yeah, that's that bit. I just need to work out what to do with this now. The original plan was to make this bar fit this plate, but because of that bit on there, when you put this plate over there, you've got to go well to that side before you can come back to centre. So if I had that bar fastened onto here, I wouldn't be able to get it to line up, because I wouldn't be able to go over that bit. So I need that bar to come down through the top first, and then bolt onto there once you've got this plate around there. And this bar, because it has like a collar on the bottom where it sits into the magnet, but on the other side it has a Morse taper in there for some reason, not sure why, but it has a thread as well. So if I can put that through to there first, then put this plate on, and then bolt that onto there like that, that should do. So whether I just drill a hole in there big enough for that thread to go through, and then just have that bar sat straight onto there and use this as like a nut to hold it in, or whether I drill a little hole, well, drill a big hole, 37mm hole, and sit that into there, and then tighten it up. I suppose it maybe doesn't make a right lot of difference. So I've decided that I am going to sink that bar into there a little bit, just because it'll be more accurate than it will be if I just drill a hole through and put the threads through. So I'll drill a hole at 24mm so that can fit through, and then I'll like counterbar it just a few mil, and then that bar, you know, it'll be accurate when that bar bolts into the hole then. So I've got that drilled through at 24mm, and I've been through the boring bar, the boring head. The only thing is, I can't move the boring head out that way, because the bar is going to touch the side of the hole. So what I'll have to do is move the tool out a little bit rather than the boring head. So I'll have to see if I can sit the dial gauge up against the tool to move it out. Right, so I think that should do. I did try and put a little chamfer on it, but the wasn't quite. It was already ground, was that? That's how it came in the box as stuff. So didn't quite put in a good enough chamfer on it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So I can take that out of there now. I think that's done. So that's that plate done now. I've given it a bit of a chamfer off with a grinder because it was quite sharp where I'd milled it off. Still a bit sharp there. So I can put that bar in there, I can put it together now. What I might have to do is make this, like mill some more flats onto it so it's a bit more like a nut, because it'll be difficult to tighten up as it is. So I've just tacked this on here just as a demonstration of what it'd be like when it's line boring. So I'd have them tacked onto whatever I was line boring. This is the hub that the line borer clamps onto. So do your pre-cut, and then I'll just unbolt this take this bearing housing off and then sit the bar welder onto there. Okay, so now that is bolted on to there, so I still will have to align it that way, but I know from that to there is bang in line with the bar that I've just line barred through. So the only thing I will have to be careful of is that doesn't fit through there, so I'll either have to have this at this side of the plate or the other side of the plate, depending on what I'm line barring. So that's the only downside, but I can slide this up and down there, or if I want to use it back on the magnet I can do. I just take that bar out, turn it all the way up and put it back in the magnet, and then it's back to being original then. Hopefully that should make the job a lot easier, if it all works as it should do. It'll take me a while probably to accumulate enough extensions to do what I need to be able to do, because like I say, I've got limited travel on here. But yeah, hopefully that should work well. It's not very warm this morning, it's nearly big coat weather again. So yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to Wes at Watch Wes Work, because he gave me a shout out on his channel, and we've gained like over 2,000 subscribers because of that. So yeah, big thanks to Wes. Go and check his channel out. He fixes stuff and builds stuff and does all kinds of interesting things. And also thanks to Baz at Welder Faber, because he's mentioned me a couple of times on his Instagram and on his YouTube channel. Yeah, so go and check him out. He's a plant fitter. He does all sorts of welding and repairs. So yeah, it's another one to go and check out. Go over there, make sure you drop a comment saying you've come from Snowball Engineering. I know a lot of you are watching from the farming community, so if you like your tractors, your classic tractors and vintage stuff and steam engines, this is a good channel to check out. It's a good little channel. He's pretty local to me. He's from like over Pickering way. Yeah, Rosie 19. He's called Rob. So go and check his channel out. 4 main channels that inspired me to start my channel were obviously Cutting Edge Engineering, IC Weld, Alistair C 123 and On Fire Welding. So they were like the main 4 for me. But if there's any other channels that you think are worth checking out, drop them in the comments below, and then have a read through the comments and see what other people have suggested. But yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Right, so we're doing a bit of farming again today. We're ploughing. So we're on John Deere 6930, 5 for a coon plough. It's pretty big, this field, and it's been a nightmare to try and keep it straight, because there's a big rolling hill there, and then at the other side of that hill there's another hill. So you're like, one way you're ploughing on that side of the hill, and then we come back the other way, you're on the other side of the hill. So it like tries to turn you around the corner every time, so that's sort of got it straightened out best I can. But and there's a big wet patch in the bottom as well, so every time you go through that, there's a track right where they've been leading muck. So yeah, I've got a stone stuck in between my skimmer and my point, so I have to knock that out. You can't be in there. Oh, spiky.